Hey guys, this is Arvin back with another tutorial video, part 2. It's about just utility usage of CS, and it's not about the lineups of the specific maps because that's a lot harder and I'll make separate videos on them. This is just about when you should use your util, how you should use them, do's and don'ts about using your grenades. And this map right now is the white crack map that I mentioned last time. And if you come in the map, you just click pre-fire. You can practice pre-fire. You jump on this round thing, and these white squares tell you where the enemies are. These are common angles that the defensive side often chooses. So you kind of just practice placing your crosshair about where they are, and then coming out, maybe crouching, maybe counter strike to kill them like this. Okay, but yeah, that's that. And I'll get back on track with smoke grenade and weapon utility usage. Molotov. Okay, so the first thing we'll talk about is flashbangs. And oh, actually, before everything else, we need to talk about how to throw them. So the left click gives you a very long range throw, and the right click gives you a very short range toss. You can press both mouse buttons together to create this mid-range toss. That could be useful for specific lineups or just certain scenarios, but most of the time, if you're throwing utils like maybe just dropping a smoke in front of you to take cover, you're just going to be try your best to get the smoke to where you want by pressing your left and right keys. You can also like run throw, jump throw, or a combination of both. But those are for lineups, mostly for like lineups for smokes and mollies on specific maps to specific areas. You can do them too if you want to throw like let's say a very long-ranged flash. Right? You can run, jump throw, and throw flash very far away like that. Yeah, and then after that, we'll just talk about flashbang. One thing about flashbang you need to know is that the flashbang doesn't blind people that are very far away. And yeah, okay, I need to adjust this flash higher because this map is slightly different than the actual Mirage. So this lamp flash, it's great for people who are like maybe playing this angle, right? And then they can blind you there, these spots. Let me put that. And then, but if you are trying to blind someone who plays here, see, they get blind for only a fraction of a second. And if they had an op here, let's say, they wouldn't be forced by that flash to turn away or leave. And like if you want to flash someone who's very far away, you would want better flashes, just flashes that's farther away and closer to the enemies and positions you want to flash. Like you might do a jump and run and jump throw. So this flash reaches very far away, and this guy will be blinded for sure. And then we talk about like when we use the flashes. Well, flashes are just to blind people when you like fight them to make it an easier fight for you because for him his screen is all blind and then he can't really see me at all, and I just need to kill him like that. Flashes, the best flashes, especially thrown by pro players, are usually pop flashes. Like for example, the flashes that, because flashbang, like when you release a flashbang, you make a noise. So if you have a teammate that's far away from you and he can give you a flash from a certain range away, the enemies wouldn't be able to see or hear the flashbang coming, and that's called the pop flash, right? Those are the best flashes you can throw, but those often requires lineup, so I won't be able to go over them. But most of the time, you need to be aware of that there could be certain really, really well thrown flashes that you have no time to react or hear based on hearing it or seeing it. It will just pop right in front of your face and you might die. So you need to have that awareness. And second, other than pop flashes, is we have self flash. Like for example, if I want to come out A main and I need to like just blind people, your flash is not going to be really good, right? Like you might just toss one to sandwich and then peek sight because if someone's playing here, they might get blinded by the flash popping right there, right? Or you might just even do a stupid, we call this like a stupid flash, right? Just throwing it, tossing it on the floor. And if anyone is looking here, they get blinded. But if you're a CT, let's say you're playing this position, ignore the bots that are shooting at them. But if someone just throw this flash, you see they have a lot of time to react. They can hear it, they can see it, but it's a good. But the purpose of this flash is really to drive them away. Like if they see this, they can't be staring at this position for long, which means they can't just stare at you, especially with an op. Right? They have to hide, take cover for a bit, and then repeat. And then by the time that they repeat, you might be already out of that position. You might already got to another cover. So that's what these self flashes are really for, is to push people away. And a lot of the times when you don't have a specific lineup for a place, like for example, stairs is a dangerous place. Like you might just throw a flash like this just to push the people who's watching it away, right? I mean, there are certain self flashes that are good too. Like for example, if you're a CT, you can throw a flash like this. I don't know if this map works because this is not like the official map. Right, you can just throw a flash like that. It's gonna be pretty good too. Or you could just do aim high, take a step, and then do right click, right? Right. If someone is holding like an angle like this, they don't have much time to react at all. But like it's the best you can do with self flashes. Or maybe like if you want to peek CT, you find a surface to bounce the flash off. Oh, this is not really well thrown, but these are the best things you can do with self flash. If they're close, they can hear the flash bouncing off the wall, so they have time to react and turn away, right? So self flashes are not pop flashes. Pop flashes almost always has to be thrown by a teammate, and we don't have to worry about that right now. So you just need to know that, like, if you want to peek angles, you can always throw a flash like that, even if it's bad. If you peek with the flash, they have to either just turn away and then get killed by you when they're looking away, or they have to look at you and then fight with you while they're blind, right? It's just tossing a flash like this and then taking a fight just gives you a whole lot of more advantage. Okay, now we get to smoke. So smokes are, in my opinion, the most important thing in this map. Like for example, right now you will see like 10 bots. Like if I kill one, more will spawn, right? There's like about 20 bots on just the A side. That means there's maybe 20 angles that you have to face when you're attacking the A bomb side of Mirage. So what's really useful are these smokes, and these are most often lineups, right? You find lineups like this, the smokes will fly away, and then when you get to like the bomb side, and this is a common angle, so you can by this, you see when you smoke this, there's and usually accompanied with a jungle smoke that gets this part blocked. You don't need to do the pre-fire and look stairs anymore. It just makes things easier for your team, where you don't have to check 10 angles at the same time. And that's really mainly what the smokes are for. But if you don't know the lineups, which we won't cover in this video, a lot of times, like for example, you peek and then let's say you killed a person on site, and then you need to like get the jungle, ignore these bots, and you know that people might play these kind of angles. So the only way you can do is you can just toss smoke like this yourself and get cover, right? But a lot of what new players do is they come out and then like they literally expose themselves to the bots. Like if I want to smoke CT, they come, like they will look at the enemies and then toss up the smoke and then run away, which is not what you want. So one thing is really important is when you're deploying your utility, try to stay as safe as possible. Like try to get a cover. Like let's say you peek this angle, you kill this bot. Okay, I don't want to face these two people because they might have ops or something. I just toss smoke like this. Oh, and then I have a cover to get this side. So always deploy your util when you are in a safe place. Second thing is there are gaps in the smoke that you need to pay attention of. Like for example, the jungle smoke. What CTs like to do is they like to come through this gap and like find picks like that. Also, like if you do the normal jungle smoke execute, you do a jungle smoke, you do a stair smoke. You just need to be aware that there could be gaps like this, right? These are inevitable gaps, and you just need to be really aware where they could be around the edge of the smoke. And it really comes off of experience. I can't tell you like exactly where are some common gaps of this common smokes. So you kind of just have to play off of it. Like this is one, a common one I just told you, and this was one where the CTs might come through this smoke, come up to this bench or something, and then peek you like this. So always be aware of that. And something else is, let me try if I can get a smoke really well placed. So you see this person right now. Like, this bot is not shooting at me right now because he cannot see me, right? But I can see him. I can see his feet. I can see his gun. I know this is a person here. So this kind of what I want to talk about is, like, usually you don't want to just run through smokes like that because that makes you a really easy target. Okay, that's not as well thrown, but if you throw a smoke like this, you don't want to, like, let's say there's CTs there, right? You don't want to just come to the smoke like this because they will see you a lot earlier, a lot faster than you see them. So it's a very, very disadvantageous fight. So don't come through smokes like this. At best, if you want to, like, let's say you have a smoke here, you know, your teammate is creating a distraction, let's say upstairs, and you want to, like, trade him. You can do maybe like this, or you peek from the side, but usually we really don't recommend you to just peek from the smoke. Usually if there's smoke, just wait it out or find a gap around it. Yeah, you don't want to, definitely don't want to go through it. And then we get to mollies. So Molotovs are really overpowered in, like, when CSGO was first released, whereas Molotovs does extremely high damage, but now not so much. Like, now Molotovs are a great tool to clear spots where it's hard to clear. Like, for example, this is a really annoying position. It's called under palace, right? And what the T's need to do is they need to come, like, see, in order to clear this guy, I need to walk all the way to here to kill him. And you realize that at the same time, this guy could be shooting at me. There could be CT guys shooting at me. Could be bomb side guys, maybe stairs guy, right? Because his position is good, right? I need to be exposed to many positions at the same time just to clear him. And this is when mollies are good. You know, these sort of dead corners, you can just molly him. Oh, shoot. Right, I got pushed by the boss. You can just molly him, and as an enemy, if you're mollied, you're forced to give up this position and peek and white swing you, where you can just hold with your team, right? But one thing you need to remember is mollies are not really used to kill people. Like, if, let's say, there was a counter-terrorist there, right? Like, imagine if we didn't kill him with the molly. We molly Shadow under Palace. You should hold it for a bit, right? Because mollies doesn't instant kill them. It burns them, and then they might wait a bit and then keep you. So if you molly a position like Shadow, you'll want to just hold it for a bit because people might peek a little later than molly. Mollies are used to, like, force people out of positions. They're not used to kill people, and that's a really important concept that you need to remember. Is to drive certain people out of certain areas. Like, for example, if you know that the T's might plant here, and you're here, and you can just molly them. Oh, shoot, I can't really molly them when there's 3 bots there. But if you want to, like, just molly them, you can molly them like this, and you can prevent them from planning, right? It's not really to kill them because they're not stupid and they can move away from the molly, but it's just to prevent them from doing certain things in certain areas. And yeah, that's a important concept to know when you're using the Molotov. And then finally, it's the grenade. The grenade is a really hard. I'd say it's most of the time it's not extremely useful because grenades do 50 damage at max if you hit them. Like, if you literally land this grenade right on them or right above them or something, you do about 50 damage or a little less than 50. In pro games, most of the time, pros like to use grenades when they can almost guarantee a certain amount of damage. Or it has a really high reward to risk ratio where even if there's nobody there, it's just good to throw a grenade. Like from Dust to A short, CT throwing a grenade A short. But yeah, other than that, nades are hard to use when you're alone because they don't do a whole lot, right? If there was someone here, what would be really good, like if you know, for example, someone really likes to play this under Shadow position, Shadow under Palace position, you can nade it with your team. And that way, 2 nades together, it does 100 damage. Or maybe even 3 teammates, right? And that will make sure that you clear this position for sure, if you don't have a Molotov, let's say. But nades are best used when you are using it with a team. And like to create like a nuke effect, right? That's what we kind of call it, especially when Astralis developed that meta in 2018. You want to use your nade with people to create an effect to kill the enemy standing in that position. Or a lot of times as a T-side, you might as well just buy 2 flashes, just because flashes get used up very quickly. Yeah, and that's about grenades. And utility usage is also important, where you don't want to just throw away your flashes for no reasons or for very minimal reasons. Like, let's say your teammate, since Mirage is a map that most teams like to contest mid in, let's say your team is using 4 people to take mid, and you're the lurker on A, right? Like, your utils are very important, because if your team wants to come from mid to A, you need to give them a lot of support utilities. Like, you might have to give them a jungle smoke, which I forgot how to do, but you might want to smoke jungle for them if they want to come up from con to A, and you can do that very easily from A. So you want to save that, and not, for example, if CT is molly here, and you're not even planning to go out because you're a lurker, you're not supposed to just find fights like that, and you use your smoke, and then when your team asks you to smoke jungle for them, you can't. So just be aware of when you're using your smokes. For new players, it's more common that they don't use their utility at all, and then they die with all the utility on them. That's more common for new players. But when you get better and you remember lineups, nade lineups for maps, and flash lineups, it's better to keep them for a longer amount of time, especially if you're playing with a team where you have coordinated tactics. And I think that's it. In future videos, I might do lineups for specific maps, like all the nades that would be really helpful to know on Mirage or other maps. I do Mirage because it's a map that beginners like to start with. It's a map with like a mid that's like conceptually that's easier for newer players to understand. And usually a map with a mid like that's structured like Mirage, like where B is on one side, A is on one side, mid allows you to go both to A and B. Usually these kind of maps, mid is part of the map you want to contest in. So I choose Mirage just because it's a very straightforward map. Yeah. Alright, see you.